So in the previous session, we saw Sutra till 3.20. Now let's study from 3.21. Again, Vibhutis. Whatever Vibhutis a yogi attains by practicing Sanyam, we will continue with that. Kaya Rupa Sanyamat Tadgrahya Shakti Sthambe Chakshuhu Prakasha Asamprayoge. So Kaya Rupa Sanyamat. Kaya means body. Okay. So when the yogi practices Sanyam steadily and firmly on his own body, now he is practicing Sanyam on his own body, on no one else's body, on his own body. The connection between the light from others' eyes and his body is broken. As a result, others lose the ability to perceive his body, and thus the yogi's body becomes invisible to him. Okay, so what happens here is that Kaya Rupa Sanyamat, when the yogi practices Sanyam on his body, Kaya Rupa Sanyamat, Tat Gaya Shakti Sthambe, the ability to perceive, Chakshu Prakasha Asamprayoge, the ability or the light to perceive his body through someone else's eyes is broken. So other person, when he's looking at the yogi, what happens? If you look from scientific point of view, the light, it reaches the body and then it is reflected back, and that is why we see the objects. But here that connection is broken, so the other person is not able to see the yogi. Only the yogi becomes invisible for that person. That is the vibhuti, that is the siddhi that a yogi attains. For example, Mr. India, he became invisible. Next is Sopakramam nirupakramam cha karma tatsanyamat aparantadnyanam arishtebhyo va. Sopakramam means the fruits that are, or the karmic impressions, or we can say the fruits that are ready to fruitify. Okay, the karma that are ready to fruitify. And nirupakramam means the karma that are not ready, yet ready to fruitify. That is nirupakramam. So by practicing Sanyam on the karmic impression, that means when we practice Sanyam on the karmashaya that bear fruits, either quickly, that is Sopakramam, or slowly, Nirupakramam, or by observing inauspicious sign. That means Aparanta Jnanam. Aparanta Jnanam Arishtobhyova. Aparanta Jnanam. That means inauspicious things. We get to know anything that is inauspicious. We understand that certain inauspicious thing is going to happen. Something bad is going to happen. We understand this beforehand only. We get that sign that now something bad is going to happen. So the yogi attains foreknowledge of his own death. So when he practices Sanyam on karmashaya, that is karmic impressions, Sopakramam and Nirupakramam, then what happens? He gains knowledge of his own death. In advance only he knows when he is going to die. He gets the signs which tells him the time of his own death. Arishtabhyo means inauspicious signs. Next is Maitri Adishu Balani. So when we practice Sanyam on Maitri, not only Maitri, Karuna, Mudita, Upeksha. So when we practice Sanyam on these things, Maitri, Karuna, Mudita, Upeksha, what happens? We attain the bal, or we attain that par. So if we practice Sanyam on Maitri, you will attain the strength of friendliness. If you practice Sanyam on Karuna, then you will attain the strength of that. So whatever you practice Sanyam on, you will get the strength of that particular thing. Next, Baleshu Hasti Baladini. Baleshu Hasti Baladini. That means when you practice Sayam on the strength of a particular thing, maybe it is a Hasti, that means an elephant or a Garud or anything or a horse, you will get the power of that particular animal or that particular thing on whatever you practice Sayam on. So here example of Hasti is given. Baleshu Hasti Baladini. Hasti means elephant. So if you practice Sanyam on Hasti, that is elephant, you will gain the strength of elephant. If you practice Sanyam on an Garuda, on an eagle, you will get the power of flying high in the sky. So whatever is the power of that particular animal, bird, or whatever object you are practicing Sanyam on, you will get the strength, the power of that particular being. Next is प्रवृत्त आलोकन्यासात सूक्ष्म व्यवहित विप्रकृष्ट ज्ञानम. Pravrutti alokanyasat. Pravrutti means the inner light. Alokanyasat. Pravrutti aloka. Pravrutti is the inner light. Nyasat. Sukshma. Vyavahit. Viprakrishta jnana. When we practice Sanyam on the inner light, then what happens? The yogi is able to see sukshma. That means the subtle things, that the hidden things, very small, tiny things also. Okay, vyavahit means the hidden things that are deep, maybe in the ocean also, deep in the ocean or deep in the earth, wherever, no matter how nicely it is hidden, he can see, oh, it is there, it is hidden, it is there. So he can see whatever is the hidden thing. And vi prakrishta means far away things also. So he gains the knowledge of subtle, hidden, and far away things also. Pravritti alokanyasa sukshma vyavahit vi prakrishta jnanam. Now here I have given the example Dhritarashtra and Sanjay. So whatever is happening on Kurukshetra, Dhritarashtra could see it, though it was far away from him. But still, how could he see that? Because he had gained that knowledge. He had that knowledge, be prakrushtana, pravritti aloka nyasat. He had that sayam, or he had practiced the sayam on the inner light. That is how he could gain the knowledge of far away things. Next, 3.26. Bhuvananyanam surye sanyamat. So when we practice sayam on the sun that is situated outside the body, the yogis, they attain the knowledge of all the world. Bhuvananyanam. So in the Bhuvan, there are 7 Bhuvan, that is solar system. So here, Patanjali Rishi is saying that when we practice Sayam on the sun, we gain the knowledge of all the entire solar system, or all the 14 Bhuvan. Chandre Tara Bhuvat Jnanam. When we practice Sayam on the moon, we get the knowledge of the stars in the sky. We get the knowledge of the exact position, where is which star. We gain the knowledge of that exact position of all the stars. Dhruve Tadgati Jnanam. Now see what is the difference. Dhruve. When we practice Sayam on Dhruvatara, Dhruv, then what happens? Tadgati Jnanam. Gati. Now here the word Gati. So the yogi gains the knowledge of the movements of the course of planet and star. Here he attains the knowledge of the movement of the planets and stars. And here he got the knowledge of the exact position of the stars. So here the exact position of the stars is known. And when the yogi practices Sanyam on the Dhruva, that is the pole star, he gets the knowledge of the movements of the course of planets and stars. So that is the difference between these two. Next, 3.29. Nabhi Chakre Kaya Vivadnyanam. So when we practice Sanyam on a Nabhi, that is a navel region, then what happens? Kaya Vivadnyanam. The yogi attains the knowledge of the entire body structure. So he knows everything that is there inside his body. For if we want to gain knowledge of whatever is happening inside our body, we need to go to the doctor, we need to go to the hospital, then get the MRI done, CT scan done, blood test done, and what all tests done. But here it is saying that it is said that when you practice Sayam on the navel, Nabhi chakra, the yogi gains the knowledge of the entire body structure, whatever is there in the body. Amazing. Next, Kanthakupe Kshuta Pipasa Nivrutti. Kanthakupe Kshuta Pipasa Nivrutti. Kantha means a throat. Kanthakup, this is the pit of the throat. Kanthakup is the pit of the throat or the cavity. Kshuta Pipasa. Kshuta means hunger. Pipasa is thirst. Nivrutti means free. So when we practice Sanyam on the pit of the throat, the yogi is free from thirst and hunger. So it doesn't feel thirsty, doesn't feel hungry at all. See, the yogis, they used to meditate for weeks, months, years together without eating anything. They used to practice meditation for days together. How? Without eating, without drinking. How could they survive? So, Kanthakupekshita Pipasa Nivritti. So, when the yogi practices Sanyam on the pit of the throat, okay, the cavity of the throat, then what happens? He doesn't feel hungry. He's free from hunger and thirst. So, same is told in Khechri also. Next is 3.31. Kurmanadyam Stairyam. Kurma means tortoise, actually. We call kurma as tortoise. So, Kurmanada Stairyam. By practicing on Sayam, on the nerve called Kurma. Now, this nerve, it is said to be located below the throat and it is shaped like a tortoise. Hence, it is called as Kurma. So, when you practice Sayam on Kurma Nadi, the yogi attains stairyam, that is stability. He becomes stable. Murdha Jyotishi Siddha Darshanam. Murdha Jyotishi. Murdha means kapal. Okay, whatever here. Murdha Jyotishi Siddha Darshanam. That means by practicing Sayam on the light of the Murdha Jyoti or the Brahmarandra, the region located in the skull, the yogi attains the ability to see or know perfected siddhas. So, if a yogi practices Sayam on the Murdha Jyoti or the Brahmarandra, what does which Vibhuti does he get? Siddha Darshanam. Darshanam, that means he can see Siddha. He can see the Siddhas, those yogis who have already attained Siddhis. He can see all those yogis. So, for example, when Aurobindo was in jail, he saw Swami Vivekananda in the jail. Swami Vivekananda was not in the jail, but he saw him. So it is a perfect example of Murda Jyotishi Siddha Darshanam. Next is Pratibhat Va Sarvam. Pratibhat Va Sarvam. Pratib means the light of higher knowledge or intuitive knowledge. So when we practice Sanyam on the intuitive knowledge, it leads to the awakening of inner wisdom. So it means the yogi gains the entire knowledge. He gains all kinds of knowledge. When does he get this knowledge? When he practices Sanyam on Pratibha, that is intuitive knowledge. It leads to the awakening of his inner wisdom. Now it is said that before complete Viveka Gyan is attained, the yogi first develops Pratib Gyan. The mature form of Pratib Gyan, that is called as Viveka Gyan. And they attain all the knowledge without Sanyam on anything. So once you attain Viveka Gyan, then you need not practice Sanyam on anything. But to attain Vivek Gyan, Pratib Gyan, attaining Pratib Gyan is very, very important. Then is Hriday Chitta Samvit. So when a yogi practices Sanyam on the Hridaya, that is the Anahat chakra or the heart chakra, Chitta Samvit, that means he attains Viveka Jnana. He attains the knowledge of Chitta. And what does that knowledge of Chitta means? It means, who am I? He understands, who am I? I am not this body. I am Brahma. This Atma is part of Paramatma. This body is temporary. This Atma is permanent. So, hey, Aham Brahmasmi. The Chitta becomes pure. It is free from impurities. It is free from vrittis. It is free from all the kleshas. It becomes pure. It knows the difference between Purush and Prakriti, Atma, Paramatma, what is Nitya, what is eternal, what is non eternal. He gets this knowledge that is called as Viveka Gyan. Then Sattva Purushayoho अत्यंत असंकीर्णयोः प्रत्यय अविशेषो भोगः परार्थत्वात् स्वार्थ संयमात् पुरुष ज्ञानम सत्व पुरुषयोः. That means sattva means buddhi, purush is purush. So the buddhi, that is sattva and purush, sattva purushayoः अत्यंत असंकीर्णयोः. Asankiranayoho, that means the sattva, that is buddhi and purush, they are completely different. They are two different identities. Sattva purushayoho atyanta asankiranayoho, they are two different identities. Considering them as identical, considering purush and buddhi or sattva as one will lead to bhog. That means what we are doing right now. Worldly experiences, we are enjoying this world. But when we know that Purush and Buddhi are different, then what happens? Then it is called as Apavarga. We will attain Apavarga. And in this, the cause is the false knowledge of the intellect. Parartha, different tattva of Prakriti, is not the object of Sanyam. Swartha, by practicing Sanyam only on the Swartha, that is self, that is Purush, only then we can gain the knowledge of the soul. And that is, what is the soul? So, Swattva Purushayoho Atyanta Asankiranayoho Pratyaya Avishesho. So, Sattva and Purush both are Atyanta Asankiranayoho. That means they are different. Pratyaya Avishesho. And if we don't consider them as different, then what happens? It leads to bhog. We are in the materialistic world, enjoying the materialistic world. Pararthatvat. Pararthatvat means when we know that buddhi and purush are different and we practice sanyam on the purush, then what happens? We gain the knowledge of purush, purusha jnanam. Next, tatah pratibha shravana vedana adarsha asvada varta jayante. Now, very beautiful sutra, very important from exam point of view also. By practicing Sanyam on the Purush. Now, here it is said that you have to practice Sanyam on the Purush. Okay, only then you will attain Apavarga. Now, when we practice Purush on Sanyam, what do we attain? We attain paths such as Pratibha, Shravana, Vedana, Adarsha, Asvada. What is Pratib? Pratib means intuition. Pratib means the intuitive path. So Pratim means what? The yogi can see anything that is far away, anything that is hidden, anything that is subtle. He can see it. Shravan, he can divine hearing. He can hear the divine sounds, which a normal being can't hear. Vedan, he can feel the divine touch. He can feel the touch of the Supreme. Adarsha, divine vision. Aswad, divine taste. It is similar to the sensation of Khechari Mudra. The nectar, it flows through the throat. And Varta is divine smell. So we can even smell the things, the divine smell, which others can't smell. So, from exam point of view, you have to learn these in sequence. They do ask it. So, Pratip, Shravan, Vedan, Adarsh, and Aswad. These are the five things that a yogi attains when he practices Sanyam or Purush. So, in exam, it is asked, what um, what happens when a yogi practices Sanyam on the Purush? And they will give you the options. So you have to take Pratip, Shravan, Vedan, Adarsh, Aswad, and Varta. Next is Te Samadhau Upasarga Vyuthane Siddhayaha. Te Samadhau Upasarga means Upasarga is obstacles. Now these six paths, Pratip, Shravan, Vedan, Adarsh, Aswad, Varta, we feel that, oh, they are vibhutis, they are very good. But Patanjali Rishi is saying that these five things, these five paths, they are obstacles. Obstacles for what? Upasarga, Samadhi, obstacles in the attainment of Te Samadhi Upasarga, obstacles in the attainment of Samadhi. However, these siddhis are for those in the state of Vyuthana. That is, when the mind is not absorbed in yoga, then they will get distracted from the practice of yoga. So, if your mind is in the Vyuthana state, you are not absorbed in yoga. When you attain these siddhis, what will happen? The yogi will be very pleased. Oh my God, I have attained all these siddhis. And then what will happen? He will get distracted and he will try to use these siddhis. And when he tries to use the siddhis, he will get distracted from the path of yoga. Hence, Patanjali Rishi here is saying that these siddhis are obstacles in the attainment of samadhi. So the yogi should not be attracted towards the siddhis. Then he is saying, Bandha Karana Shaithilyat Prachara Samvedanat Cha Chittasya Parasharira Aveshaha. Bandha Karana Shaithilyat. That means when the bondage of karma, the kleshas, they are loosened. Bandha Karana Shaithilyat. Shaithilya means they are loosened. When the bondage of the kleshas, the karma, they are loosened, then there is proper knowledge of the movement of chitta. When the kleshas, okay, they cease to exist, then we know what a chitta is, who our chitta is. The mind enters another person's body. Then the mind is able to enter another person's body. This is the siddhi of entering another person's body, also known as parasharira gamana or parakaya pravesh. That means the yogi has control on udana vayu. So when here Patanjali Rishi is saying that when the bondage of all the kleshas, they are loosened, okay, they decrease. Then what happened? Or when the kleshas are reduced or suppressed or destroyed, then you get the knowledge of the chitta or the mind, and the mind enters another person's body. So the chitta can enter other person's body. And this is called as para sharira gamana. Para sharira means others sharir. Para sharir, others body. Or para kaya pravesh. And this is possible, or it means that the yogi can control the udana vayu. Okay. This is a story that is there about Mandan Mishra, who entered the body of a king. You can go through it later on. He was a very renowned, he was a very knowledgeable yogi, very, very learned yogi. And it is a story about that. You can go through it later on. He entered the body of the king. And then again, after some time, he again came and entered his own body. So it is a perfect example of para sharira gamana or para kaya pravesha. That is why I have given the story over here. With this, we stop today's session. See you all again tomorrow.